Kuzangpo and a very warm welcome to Bhutan this week. I'm Bemal Hatton. Our top stories. At the final hearing on the Galpushing land allotment case in the High Court last week, the Anti-Corruption Commission said Speaker Jimmy Tsiltrim was charged under Trimjung Chenmo. The Mangdichu hydroelectric project will be responsible for the upkeep of the Trongsa-Shemgang highway, and some people from far-off Songkhaks living in Thimphu who are not entitled for postal ballot are considering not voting. At the final hearing on the Galpushing land allotment case in the High Court, the Anti-Corruption Commission said Speaker Jimmy Tsiltrim was charged under Trimjung Chenmo. The statement comes after the Speaker's legal counsel questioned ACC's legal rights to prosecute the case since it happened before the ACC Act came into being in the last hearing. The ACC's representative also said ACC Act allows ACC to prosecute.
Anti-Corruption Commission said the Speaker favoured the rich and powerful people who resided in Thimphu by allotting plots in Galpushing. ACC said those beneficiaries were neither residents nor businessmen in Galpushing. ACC said some of the people from Drepung who were eligible did not get any plots even after submitting repeated applications to the Dzongkhag. Instead, 23 people were allotted plots who were not eligible, and those who were allotted plots even failed to report for the lucky draw and were also allotted bigger plots. The appellant was accused of giving plots to those who picked up blank paper during the lucky draw. ACC said the Speaker had incurred indirect benefit by allotting plots to his daughter and son and also to his maid. ACC said the Speaker had forged his maid's signature to get a plot. ACC reiterated that the Speaker signed on the ownership certificate so that it seemed that the plots were allotted by the Plot Allotment Committee through lucky draw. The appellant was also accused of impersonating them on the ownership certificates. ACC said the Speaker allotted plots without consulting the committee members. ACC further added that the appellant had not only deceived the government but also deprived actual beneficiaries. With additional information from Pemasoki, Kengo Wangmo for BBS News.
With the construction of the 720-megawatt Mangdichu hydroelectric project in full swing, the highway between Trongsa and Shemgang has taken a severe beating. Hundreds of vehicles, small ones as well as big trucks, ply the road every day.
Jimmy Doji, who has been using the Thimphu-Shemgang highway for the last 4 years, has suffered at the hands of bad road conditions. He travels almost every day on this road and complains that it now takes over 17 hours to reach Shemgang from Thimphu. It was not so earlier.
The project has damaged the road. I drive a coaster bus and at times we have to push it manually because the road is so bad. Maintenance is really costing me a great deal.
The road has especially deteriorated between Trongsa and Langthil, where the Mangdichu project area lies. Not only are the motorists affected by the road, even the people who own inns along the highways are grumbling about dust and over-speeding cars. The shopkeepers say heavy vehicles are a real nuisance.
The dust has ruined all our belongings and customers complain about lack of hygiene. The number of customers visiting the hotel has really fallen.
Even people living at a distance from the project site have not escaped the ooze of the bad road. Villagers from as far as Corfu say that taxis refuse to drop them to their village due to condition of the road.
Taxi drivers say their cars break down more when they use this road. Even after much persuasion, the drivers reluctantly agree, but charge 3,000 to 4,000 Tilwangdigang from Trongsa. Our people cannot afford that.
This problem has a solution. The Department of Roads handed over the entire 43.5 kilometers of road to the project for maintenance on 1st of April. The project will also carry out the regular maintenance of walls and drainage system until its completion. An estimated 600 million ngiltram has been kept aside for the repair and maintenance by the project. The executive engineer from the Department of Roads in Trongsa said maintenance work will be strictly monitored by the Department of Roads and the project will have to follow the technical specifications provided by the Department of Roads. The stretch starts from Zongkhalum in Trongsa till Dangdung in Langthil. Major repair works will be completed within 10 months. Surjaman Thapa, BBS News, Trongsa.
Only a few days left for the National Council elections. Some people from far-off Dzongkhaks living in Thimphu who are not entitled for postal ballot are considering not voting. This is because travelling all the way to their villages to cast vote entails huge expenses which some are not willing to make. For others, it is a question of affordability.
Tauge Dukpa is from Pemagatsal. He runs a tailoring shop in Thimphu. Back in 2008, Tauge Dukpa travelled all the way to his village in Pemagatsal to vote twice, once for the National Council election and the second time for the National Assembly election. But this time around, he is not excited or motivated enough to do so. Without a tinge of reservation, Tauge Dukpa says he is decided. He is not going to travel to his village to vote for the National Council elections, which is just 8 days away from today. He said he will also give the National Assembly elections a miss.
I
just wish if we could also vote through postal ballot. It would be much easier. For people like me from far-off Dzongkhaks, voting is an expensive affair. It takes me 3 days just to get to my village. And also when I go, I have to forego my business the entire time I'm there, which again adds up to the cost. The Election Commission and the BCCI should look into making elections voter-friendly for business people. Allowing us to vote through postal ballot would be one way of doing it.
It's not just him, though, whose interest in voting is beginning to wane. Chikmidoji, a corporate employee, says he might have to give a second thought on travelling to his village to vote.
Elections are important, and I know that the voting is an important individual responsibility. In the last elections, I went to my village to vote in both National Council and National Assembly elections. But this time, there is not much time left for the National Council, so I may not be able to go. Also, it is expensive. Just the travel expenses come to around 7,000 ngiltram, and that's excluding food and accommodation on the travel days.
Chikmidoji, however, said he might vote in the National Assembly elections despite the cost and inconveniences. BBS also caught up with some other people who shared similar views.
हाम्रो त भोटर साइड हो 3-4 दिन 2 दिन त सिज गर्छ हैन भोटर त्यही भएर हेर्नु पर्छ अब कस्तो हुन्छ ngachra pa sachubi khalfa diumi ta phumtale trasiganlo phalfa diumi sulu didi tena mesamege tinalo droso bombra te jonigi temchi du.
If there was a provision to vote here itself, for the people from different region, that would have been better actually.
Compiled for Pemothoki, Dishinongmo, BBS News.
Students who are 18 and above are eligible for postal ballot, but in Shemgang, most of the students have missed the opportunity to vote through postal ballot. While some did not register at all with the Election Commission, others did not apply for postal ballot.
Over 200 students from Shemgang Higher Secondary School submitted their details for registration, but none of the students had applied for postal ballot for the upcoming National Council elections. The students said they did not receive any information on postal ballots.
I know about the eligibility of postal ballot but didn't know how to go about it, and we had no enough information on it.
We have the opportunity for electing capable leaders, but we didn't receive information regarding postal ballots.
I don't think I can vote in the upcoming election even if we are eligible by age, says this girl. According to the Dzongkhag electoral officer, the office had already notified the concerned heads and informed them on electoral procedures beginning this year. But the Dzongkhag education officer said the notification was sent when the schools were closed. He cited lack of personal interest as among the reasons. The school authorities said they did apply for registration, but did nothing after that. The office of the returning officer in Shimgang received over 2,000 applications for postal ballot, and of that, 704 were rejected. Compiled for Pema Samdup, Dishinongmo, PBS News.
Strong winds have blown off roofs of several houses in Mendigang in Zomigyok in Punaka. The strong windstorm struck the village on the night of 14th April. Fierce winds have blown off the roof of Zomigyok's office. The science lab and 2 classrooms at Mendigang Primary School and the kitchen of Mendigang Haga have also been left roofless by strong winds that lashed Mendigang village last night. The damages have been reported to the Dzongkhag administration. No casualties have been reported though.
I came here before breakfast and I was worried what if it rains. The CGI sheets were all scattered on the ground.
The principal of Mendigang Primary School said the incident has not hampered regular classes. He added spare classrooms are being used in place of the damaged ones.
My concern is that I'm a bit worried how I can re-roof that building now.
The strong wind has also ripped off a newly constructed private building. Compiled for Chinidema, Pematsuki for PBS News. The Sunday's strong winds also wreaked havoc in other parts of Punaka. The roof of the new drasa of Talogemba was blown off. The Levis residence and the drasa kitchen were also affected. 2 houses in Talo have also been left without roof. The roofs of the kitchen of the Lapsakal Hagang and the Lams residence have also been damaged. The strong winds also caused damages to Tiligang Hagang and 3 traditional houses in Tebgyok. In Limbugyok too, 2 traditional houses were affected. Drukgyal Corporation revised the airfare for domestic flights to Bhutan and Tashigang after it resumed operation in November last year. However, many locals say it is still expensive. When Drukgyal launched commercial flights to Bhutan and Tashigang in December 2011, one-way airfare to Bhutan was over 9,000 nultrim and for Tashigang it was over 11,000 nultrim. But the airfare was revised in November last year after Drukgyal found out that the fare was expensive for the general public. According to the revised fare, one-way flight to Bhutan cost over 4,000 nultrim and one-way flight to Tashigang is over 6,000 nultrim. Round-trip flight from Paro to Bhutan is over 7,000 nultrim, while from Paro to Tashigang is over 11,000 nultrim. But that is still not so encouraging.
아니 동tra 시시를 하게 되어서 땅을 지키다 같이 주임마세다 입지 담이가 저 아재 범도 속에 주임이술라 다시지 마마 수집에 다야는 파 입지 최단이 되지 수 최단이 되지 배워진 땅을 실로 기두지 논에서가 지삼불 대비 유를 당하지 다야님 여기 속초를 아니 배워다야다 파야 슈니비 유 촉보도 술당하지 당실에 주에 주일라
아니 죽동래 아치치 팝낭 마진 가린 친메랑 아치 미선 얌충데 수데 톱니가 때민돌라 아니나 반디 반도 메달레 아치치 마 팝베낭 마진 남섬 가린 친메랑.
But the managing director of Drukgyal, Tandon Jamso, said the revised fare is minimum they could ever think of.
As far as the fare is concerned, I think we have given a thorough study on the fare. We looked at all our operating costs, keeping in mind that the minimum cost that is required as far as operation to domestic and the type of equipment and handling things required, which is very minimum, very basic. With all this in mind,
he said the fare cannot be reduced further. The fare was actually revised to attract the people in the middle income group.
We are trying to capture this middle income group And with the hope that there are people like you and I who are working in the government services like to sponsor our people back at home who are staying in the villages. And I'm sure a fare of 4,000 one way, I think it is quite affordable.
Over 800 passengers boarded the domestic flights since its launch in December 2011. Of that, 500 were tourists. Pemal Hadan for BBS News. Punaka Extended Classroom in Sangbe Gyog in Ha is faced with acute shortage of drinking water.
Located on a hilltop, this is Punaka Extended Classroom in Sangbe Gyog in Ha. The school is plagued with drinking water shortage. The nearest water source is half an hour walk downhill from the school. Kesang Jamto is the only teacher at the Punaka Extended Classroom.
Water is our main problem. Students have to walk half an hour downhill to fetch water.
Water shortage is not the only problem. The school infrastructure is also not in a very good condition. Something needs to be done about the classroom floor, says the teacher.
During dry months, the classrooms are very dusty, and during monsoon, it becomes muddy.
Established last year, the school today has 23 students. Compiled for Kesang Tile, Dichinongmo, BBS News.
The construction of the Minji Middle Secondary School in Lindsay has been delayed by almost a year. Construction is, however, expected to be completed by the end of this year.
The students of the school have their classes in a hut, which looks no better than a temporary shelter. The students appear to have no problems, but during the rainy season, they have to look for spots to sit on where water does not drip from the ceiling. During a visit to the school, the new Lhuntit Zongda Sonamwangyal interacted with the students. The students complained to their Zongda that they cannot hear what is being taught when it rains. Some students also informed the Zongda that they walk about 2 hours to the school daily. Had the construction been completed on time, the school would have already had boarding facilities. In spite of these hiccups, the principal of the school, Karma Wangchuk, says there are no major problems.
We tend to solve minor problems within ourselves. We are trying to manage, and then the community they're helping us, and on the other hand, the construction company they're also helping us and supporting us at the best.
The engineers responsible for the construction have assured the Zongda that the construction will be completed by the end of this year. The contractor was not available for comments, and the engineers were not allowed to speak to BBS as well. There are people in Menje who remain skeptical about construction works being completed within this year. They say progress has been sluggish. The school is being built at a cost of 195 million Nultrum. Compiled for Sonumugan, this is Namgizam for BBS News.
The massive earthquake in the September 2011 has damaged most classrooms in Bara Lower Secondary School in Samsi. Since then, many of the classes are being held in the tents provided by the Education Ministry.
Accommodating over 40 students, these temporary tents have been serving as classrooms for Bara Lower Secondary School for over a year now. Most parts of the academic building of the school were damaged by the earthquake in 2011. The UNICEF, through the Education Ministry, had supplied temporary tents to the school last year as makeshift classrooms. The students and the teachers continue to be inconvenienced, though. A teacher at the school, Peltring Lepcha, says students find it difficult to concentrate on their lessons due to limited space.
Students encounter problems while moving from one class to another, especially during rainy days. Some of the students complained they can hear what is being taught in other classes and it is loud and disturbing.
The students also complained that the tent do not feel like a classroom.
We feel inconvenient in studying under a tent with cramped classroom. We don't have proper place to paste note from teachers like in normal classroom. Our paste note on tents gets removed by the small class students.
Meanwhile, the school principal, Sandrup Gelpo, has said the problem will be solved once the new academic building is complete. Construction of the school buildings has already begun. There are about 600 students in Bara Lower Secondary School. The school was first started in 1965. It was closed down for a few years due to security problems in early 1990s. The school reopened in 2003. Compiled for Karmaundi, Karmatring, VVS News.
Dechen Landablagang in Sirang Tigyok in Sirang is in dire need of renovation. Our reporter in Sirang said it is the oldest monastery in Sirang and it is in the bad condition. People say Ministry of Home and Cultural Affairs should do something about it immediately.
Nobody in Sirang knows when and who built the Lhagang in Sirang Tigyok, not even the monks at the monastery. However, it houses many secret relics and ancient artifacts. Ancient tankas and handwritten religious scriptures were among many relics which are still preserved and considered secret. The most secret relic is the leather box which was never opened. Zepa Tenzin, the Lam of the Lhagang, said nobody knows what is inside the box.
The leather box does not change its shape and size, and not even rats have destroyed it. The box is also stitched with leather. We do not know when and who made it, but we can guess that it is over 300 years old. It is for sure that it is antique and sacred.
However, today Sirang Te Lhagang is on the verge of collapse. The four walls of the monastery are with cracks. It was also affected during 2011 earthquake. The wooden structures of the temple need to be replaced, and the monks who reside at the monastery are concerned.
The walls are all cracked and we are always worried what if earthquake strikes. We cannot sleep in peace, but we have no option but to stay here.
It is the oldest Lhagang in Sirang, but no major renovation has been done as of now. According to the GUP of Sirang Te Gyok, the issue was raised several times in Zongkhak Soktu, but nothing could be done as the Ministry of Home and Cultural Affairs and Disaster Management has not responded to their approval so far.
We have
written letter to the Zongkhak administration, but they say that they do not have authority to approve as the Lhagang is very old. They even said that the Lhagang is 3-storied and they are not allowed for the major renovations. We are told that the letter is being sent to disaster management and cannot do anything until they approve.
The people are worried if another earthquake strikes again, the monastery don't stand a chance. Compiled for Yishing YouTube, Sonam Hamo for BBS News.
That is all we have for you this week. Join us again next Saturday for yet another edition of Bhutan This Week. I'm Pamela Haddon saying goodbye.